It's June, and as a homeschool mom, there's a few things that I want to get done, especially with homeschool and coming up. Now, we're a year-round homeschool family, but don't let that stop you if you're not, because this content is going to be whether or not you are year-round or whether you have taken a break for the summer. Come along and we're going to talk about it. So, hi, my name is Amanda from Learning to Love Well, and this is a channel dedicated to all things homeschool, dedicated to homeschool from a biblical worldview. I am sorry if the glare is there. I'll just take them off and go at this blind. I feel like I should put in my contacts by now, but by the time I film, it's normally late at night after the kids go to bed because my house echoes really bad and you will hear everything going on from my filming spot. And yeah, plus then I don't have to take up my time during the day. I can do it at night when my kids are already asleep or headed that way. Every once in a while I'll try to film, but I think it's just easier to do it at night. So now that I'm off that rabbit trail, I am going to get into this video. Okay, so today's video, as you can tell by the title, is making inventory while it's fresh, or taking inventory while it's fresh. I think for us now, it's June 2025. Most of us are either done homeschooling. Now, my kids have testing coming up on the 16th, or you've already taken a break for the summer, or you're like us and you're a year-round homeschool and you are continuing to go. When you are doing that, a lot of times we put away the books. The moment you get a vacation, you put away the books, you don't think about homeschool, and you just shut it all down. One of the problems with doing that right away and never taking the time to reflect is you don't have everything as fresh in your mind, and you might forget things along the way. So one of the things that you can do during this time off, and while it's still fresh in your mind on how the year went, is jot down some notes. Things like, that science curriculum didn't work, or I liked it, but it definitely needs some more manipulatives, and I think I want to go more hands-on next year. Or, we had too many subjects going, so now we need to downsize. All of these things are really good to do in reflection right after you come out of the homeschool year, because otherwise, if you wait a few months after you're well rested, or in my case, after the new year has gone up and you're starting to think about like, okay, we have this curriculum and this curriculum that I want to do, it's easy to make the same mistakes over and over if you never take the time to reflect on what mistakes you made, what you liked, what you didn't like, and how you can make it better. Another thing you can do is evaluate the time that you spent. So for example, this year, I want to simplify daily chores. So one of the things I want to do is group laundry days. And so the kids are starting to get old enough to hang the clothes on the line once they come out, and give them their own chores first thing in the morning, so I'm not running out to do laundry throughout the day. And since we hang the laundry out on the line now, which by the way, totally recommend it. It's like having fabric softener without ever having fabric softener. Except for your towels. Your towels definitely turn out hard, but that's okay. I digress. But it makes your clothes just smell amazing, and I love it. And it sanitizes them, and I love hanging my clothes on the line. But I'm going to get back to this. The thing is that during the homeschool day, it can become very distracting. And so if I give my kids certain laundry days and they're responsible on those days to get that done, many hands make light work, and it frees me up to be able to work with the other kids during that time. Another thing that I've been praying about praying and asking the Lord, and I feel like I've got a good idea on how to do this now, is taking time individually with each kid per day without the other kids around. So whether this looks like 20 to 30 minutes of just hitting the subjects that they've needed, or hammering out, a couple of problems that they're having a problem in, whether that's math or phonics, or maybe we do a little bit extra work on creative writing, or whatever we choose to do. It will give me time to focus in on that child's needs. Another thing that I want to do is buddy system up. So I've got a couple kids that would do well doing spelling tests, like oral spelling tests with one another, and helping each other learn each other's words that way, and working on multiplication sheets together. And if I buddy system them up, I can help manage my time a little bit better. Another thing that we fell into a rut really bad this year was because we just were juggling a lot, we would oftentimes wake up a little bit too late and start a little too late. And I do not want to do that again next year. Part of my evaluation this year is I want to start getting up earlier, starting a little bit earlier in the day, and then having a hard deadline of when we're cutting off when mommy's doing homeschool. And that way we're not going late into the evening homeschool. Now, there's nothing wrong if you're a person who evening homeschools because you work during the day. It just doesn't work well for our family. And so I want to do it so we're switching it a little bit more to the morning time. Is that way my kids will be off of homeschool by the time all of their friends get off of homeschool, because normally by now 3 o'clock, now moving into this neighborhood and getting a friend group established, normally by like 3:30 we have kids knocking on the door to see if my kids can come play. And I think my kids would much rather and appreciate it, would make it easier so that we don't have as many interruptions while we're trying to get homeschool done if we switch it more towards the morning. Also, a good thing about end of grade testing, now not every state requires end of grade testing. If your state does not and you want to do testing with your children, there are plenty of options. For me, we've used both the Iowa and the SAT-10. And like I said, in just a few weeks, we will be starting testing. And when we're done with testing, we'll actually get a review sheet that at the bottom of the test scores, they will tell you whether you're above average, under average, all of those things. That is a good time to really start looking through and being like, okay, what did my child excel in? What is that something that they really don't understand? Where are the gaps in maybe some of the learning that maybe a curriculum didn't cover that we maybe need to supplement with? And doing that right after testing can give you the time to really pray and think about what you would like to use, and really just sit down with the Lord and ask the Holy Spirit how better to manage your homeschool and your child's education. Another thing that you can do in review is reflect on the goals that you set at the beginning of the year. Are these goals that you kept? Are they goals that you even want to do now? And goals you even want to do now? And if you want to maybe reinstate or try to accomplish some of those goals this year. Life happens. Sometimes we make a lot of goals and they just don't happen. But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't strive for excellence. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't be praying about our goals or that we shouldn't be setting a standard for our homeschool. So during this reflection time would be a really good time to sit there and be like, okay, did we hit the goals that we want? How better can we implement those goals for next year? Maybe you want to take more field trips. Maybe you wanted more hands-on STEM projects. Maybe you wanted to work together with other homeschool families a little bit more, or integrate a little bit more field trips or family fun. Any of these things are great and they're wonderful, but they do take a lot of intentionality. And sometimes when you're in the weeds with curriculum alone, those things kind of go off to the side. And so maybe this is a good time for you to reevaluate and think like, wow, did we actually make those goals that we wanted to? Did we even budget for those goals that we wanted to? Is this something that we are doing, or is this something that we need to reevaluate for the coming year? By doing this at the end of the year, it really helps it when it's still fresh. If you wait until August, there's going to be so many little details that you probably would have recorded and thought about and prayed about if you would have done it while it was still fresh on your mind and you knew where the gaps are that you want to improve on, or the flow of your homeschool, or any of these things. I know you'll hear me say pray about it a lot, and there's a reason for that. I tell you to pray about it a lot because that is how I do my homeschool. When I'm burnt out, when I am struggling, when I feel like I don't have the answers, that's exactly what I do. And it's kind of funny because today I was randomly flipping through YouTube, and there was a short about George Washington Carver. Now, I came up in public school, so I did not know he was a Christian. My child has read a curriculum or a story about him before, and apparently it was more faith-based in its retelling of him. It was really cool because it talked about his faith and about what he prayed about. To most people, when we hear stories about other people's faith, it has the ability to fuel ours, whether in little things or big things. And I love hearing about the testimonies of other people's faith and how God was so faithful to them, because it really fuels my faith to know that when I go to the Lord, I can expectantly know that God is going to answer me, whether it's right there in prayer or whether it's sometime along the way, or he's going to put the right resource in front of me, or I will just have an idea or something like that will come from the Lord. And I know that this is so controversial, but it shouldn't be. We serve a living God who speaks to us through his word and speaks to us through other people and situations, and sometimes just speaks to our heart. And so, yes. So when this came up, I wanted to fact check it, but I really want to read this. This came from Regent University, and they did a book review on George Washington Carver. So they took an excerpt out, and I'm going to put the link in the below so you can read it, because it's really cool. And I want to read to you a part of this story, but I'm going to put on my eyeballs first so that I can actually see what I'm doing. And it says, the boldness of Dr. Carver's faith can be observed in the account of his address to the U.S. House Ways and Means Committee in Washington, D.C. Initially, he was only given 10 minutes to speak, but the committee became so enthralled that the chairman said, "Go ahead, brother. Your time is unlimited." I think it meant to say your. He spoke for an hour and 45 minutes expounding on the potential of the peanut. And at the end of his address, the chairman asked him how he learned all these things, and Carver answered, "From an old book." "What book?" asked the chairman. Carver replied, "The Bible." The chairman inquired, "Does the Bible tell you about peanuts?" "No, sir," Dr. Carver replied, "but it tells me about a God who made the peanut. And I asked him to show me what to do with it, and he did." I super love this, guys. If you can't tell my whole geek mode, but it just shows that we serve a God that if we pray about the things in reflection that maybe didn't go well, or maybe things that are just not going well in your homeschool, and you need a refresh and you need a restart and you need to figure out how to reroute it. Maybe you've welcomed a new child into your house. Maybe, you have life circumstances that are not the tradition, and no one's life circumstances are the same. Maybe your husband just got a job where he works nights and you've got to homeschool at a different time. Whatever the situation is, we serve a God that if we ask for wisdom, he'll give it. And I love how George Washington Carver, in front of the U.S. House Ways Committee, was just so bold to speak about his faith and just be like, yeah, I serve the God who made the peanut. And you know what? I asked him what to do with it, and he showed me. Like, I love that. That is beautiful to me, because there's a beautiful thing about testimonies is that when God does it once for one person, God will do it again for us, because he's not a respecter of persons. He is willingly, lovingly willing to give us wisdom if we ask. James 1:5 again says that if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask. Let him ask God, who gives to all liberally without reproach, and it'll be given to him. I love that. I love that God promises that he will give to us wisdom liberally without finding reproach. And it means that no matter what, God's not going to reject your plea for wisdom. If you ask God and you're like, "Lord, I'm struggling. I'm in the weeds. Last year didn't go well," or maybe last year went great, and you're just thinking like, "Okay, God, what do you want me to do with this year? How do you want me to train them? What do you want me to add in? What do you want me to subtract? What do you want me to keep?" Whatever it is, the Lord is willing to take your questions, and he's willing to give you wisdom. And I love that, and I hope that blesses you. I love this story. I thought it was so cool, and yeah, I had to share it with my kids first, so they got to hear it before you guys did, but that's okay. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys take some inventory while it's still fresh. And you have a wonderful day and good night. And God bless.